There we go. Welcome, Mr. Casberg, Liberty Charter High School. We're taking a trip to Japan. I am going to share my screen, so give me a moment to think through and work through getting all this working. All right. And we'll get going. So we're going to Japan. I'm super excited. Should be an amazing trip. I've done many different trips over the years. Started out 8th grade U.S. history to D.C., but I've gone to Greece and Italy with students, London, Paris, Rome, Scandinavia, and this year, as you all know, we are going to Japan. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about the dates and the logistics of it. We'll talk through some rooming. We'll talk about tipping and money on tour. We'll talk about traveler to-dos, obviously passports, and what is coming up next. So why do we travel? Why do I travel? The top pictures are all from, looks like the London, Paris, Rome trip. We go so we can see some amazing things. We can hang out with some great people. And on the bottom, these are all different things that we will be seeing on our tour. And I always enjoy eating some of the local cuisine. So there's a picture of some sushi down there. But just, it's amazing traveling, amazing being with friends and going to places that you might never go back to. Japan, I look forward to, I've never been, and I am very excited to take a trip to Japan. So I don't know if you can see on mine, there we go. That's kind of getting it out of the way a little bit. We won't know our tour dates until about 2, maybe 3 months before tour. So these are the tour dates that we have put in. June 22nd is the day after graduation, so we would leave we could possibly leave as early as Sunday the 22nd, and we could get back as late as July 7th. So it's a 9-day tour, and so whenever we find out, we'll have a meeting, we'll talk about dates, and get it all planned out there. These are some of the places that we're going to visit on tour. We'll fly into Tokyo, down to Yokohama, Hiroshima, and we will spend a night in Osaka, Japan. You can see all this on your EF tour site. There's a whole itinerary, and it breaks it down a little bit more for you. And I'll show you how to see that in a little bit. This is, again, just a rundown. You've signed up for the trip. You saw this at one point or another. So we will be touring Tokyo and all of these different amazing places. Somebody have a question?
No.
All right. Here's some more things that we'll be seeing. We're visiting Yokohama, the Hikawa Maru, which is this huge ship that we will be getting to tour. We're taking a bullet train, which I'm super excited about, and we'll be touring Hiroshima. So obviously a lot of history and a lot of beauty and just some amazing things that we're going to see on tour. I'm going to pause on this for a moment. I want to get this moved again out of the way. There are 2 different excursions that we can sign up for. On the left-hand side, you see that the tea ceremony, it is $50 per person, and 27 of the 39 people who are going on the trip have signed up for it. I really want to get everybody to sign up for that. So if there's a reason that you can't, please have that conversation with me. But that is very important for me, and I'll explain why in a second. The other excursion is the drum lesson, the taiko drum lesson, which seems pretty amazing as well. If you want to sign up, you can either do it, I believe you can do it through the EF site, or you can look at the phone number down below. You can call that 800 number and you can sign up for it. The reason I want everybody to sign up for the tea ceremony is really so we can all go, and it can be one big extravaganza, if you will. Those who don't sign up, you will have free time. That will be in Tokyo, so you will have free time, and we'll definitely have to figure out some of the adults to go and hang with those students who don't go. And obviously, same with the drum lesson. I just think it'd be very amazing for all of us to sit and have this Japanese tea lesson, or tea ceremony. I think it's a big part of what I'm excited to see when we're in Japan. But if you just really don't want to go, I get it. Doesn't really bother me too much, other than finding out or figuring out which chaperone is going to will stay behind. The drum lesson, there's only about half that are signed up, so not a problem either way with that. But these are some additional excursions that we can go on while we're there. All right, moving along. Rooming. Students are in their own rooms. They're by themselves. They don't have adults in there for some fairly obvious reasons. There are about 3 to 4 a room. It is based on gender. As we get closer, probably about 3, 4, maybe even 5 months out, I will have a meeting where I'll talk to all the students, and we'll make sure that they put a friend down, and I'll make sure that at least one of their friends is in the room with them. So that is how that works. Adults, there are 2 to a room, and I believe there is only 1 adult on the trip that doesn't have a spouse or significant other, or hasn't already set up their own designated room. So they might be roomed with Mr. Straub. So Mr. Straub is going on the trip, which is pretty amazing as well. So that's how the rooming works. Just want to make sure everybody understands that's how that works. But there is rooming upgrades available, and it is obviously an additional cost. So tipping and money. I'm gonna move this again. I don't know if you guys see all that as well, but I'm gonna move that to that side. In the spring, and I use that kind of openly. We will do a meeting, like I said, when we get to about 2-3 months before we leave on tour. It's usually right around the 110-day mark, which is, I believe, March 10th, or right around there. I will be collecting the $100 in tips. I'll remind you what the tips are for. Those are for the bus drivers and the guides and all of that sort of thing on tour. So $100 per person. Even the chaperones and even I come up with this money, and they don't put it in the cost of the trip. This was explained to me because I was really kind of bummed about it the first couple of times I went on tour, why they don't just include that money in the price. I guess they would have to charge more because of taxes and all that sort of thing. So there's that. Also, money on tour. Students should plan. They put in here 30 to 60 a day. 60 seems pretty high to me. I would honestly say plan on 10 to 20 a day for lunch. Remember, lunches are not included. So plan 10 to 20 days, 20 per day for lunch. And obviously, your students are going to want to get some souvenirs. So I might say maybe $100 total for souvenirs. They need to remember that they can't take, they're going to have limited space in their briefcases, in their suitcases. So make sure that they are planning kind of accordingly. I had one student that even had to like ship things home because they were buying so many different things for grandparents and cousins and aunts and uncles. I think that's great. But a lot of this student's trip was just shopping for all these people. And it's fine. We'll definitely have time for shopping, but really kind of think through, who do you need to shop for? Obviously, maybe get something for mom and dad, or possibly grandparents, especially if somebody who donated a lot for your trip. But I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it. I wouldn't spend a lot of money on tour buying things, but we will have time to shop. They're more than welcome to do as much as they can carry. But they also have a weight limit on their luggage as well. And I'll talk about luggage here in a second. I keep looking off to the right because I've got all these little things I want to show at the end of the slideshow. All right, managing money on tour. EF is really recommending this. I think it's an app. I'm going to use the word app. I have not used this, so I can't talk much to it. But I guess there's an app, or a Till Financial is what it's called. And what's really neat about it is you can put in as much money into it. You can withdraw from ATMs, cash, and that sort of thing if you need to. You can use it on your phone like Apple Pay. You can get like a Visa debit card, so it would work as a Visa check card or debit card. It's a very interesting way. I believe I read here, if you look on tour, it says the second line down, no foreign transaction fees for purchases made during your tour. That's huge. Because I know I use either a credit card or just my banking information, my bank debit card, and you definitely get charged generally for the foreign transaction fees. So that is a big part of it. I have not looked much more into it other than what is on this this slide here. So take with it from what you want. All right, on to the next one. Pre-departure to-do list. So there's some things, we are really far out. We have a long time before we leave on tour. So we have plenty of time to do all this, but it's good to just do exactly what it's saying here. Log in, submit your passport information. I just had to renew mine. So I know they usually take sometimes 2-3 months. Usually it's about 4 to 6 weeks, but it's a really good time to make sure you have your passport, make sure it's not expiring within 6 months of our departure. So that's a huge part of it as well. Mine expires October of next year, and I was like, I'm just going to get it done so there's no questions when we're on tour, and just make sure I have my new passport ready to go. So I highly recommend getting your passport, and then you have to log online. And again, there's another slide I'll show you. You have to log into EF and submit all of your passport information. If you do want to change any of your rooming, if you want to upgrade, sooner the better with that. And then as we get closer to tour, I definitely have like a health sheet. It will ask about eating, if there's any special dietary restrictions, and we'll get there. But if you want to let me know sooner, that's fine as well. As far as paying, you know what you're doing with your paying, plan for that. If you are on a manual payment plan, there's a date that you have to pay it off by. And again, it should say everything on your EF website for that. Start to plan for tipping. And this is the official enrollment deadline. I believe, so let me pause on that last one because it's pretty important. We sold out the trip and I thought that it was at 40. We are at 40, but it's actually, I believe there are 42 or 43 spaces on the trip. So we do officially have a space or two. I don't want to open it back up to the school, but if you do, like it says down there, a friend or a parent that now wants to go, we do have a couple of spots, very limited availability, but if you do have a friend or family that wants to go, send me an email and we can get enrolled. Let me see, official deadline, I believe it's like January. Talk to me soon, then later.
Not today.
So I kept talking throughout the whole meeting about checking your traveler account. There is the login. You can check out your itinerary. You can see that on the side there, your itinerary. You will have some to-dos, and like I said, the biggest to-do is your passport, and then stay on top of your payments. So you can check your EF login and see where you are with everything. Passports, I definitely talked about it. This is due by, again, it's March 1st, so you have a lot of time. But again, check your passports right now. Make sure that they're valid for 6 months after the tour. I don't think we have any non-citizens, but if we do, have a conversation with me or have a conversation with EF, because there are additional steps than just having a passport. But all US citizens, all you need is your passport for this trip. Submitting your passport information, again, it's on your EF page. If you need help finding it, again, go to that EF phone number. But it looks like it's at the bottom of your EF page. Submit your information here. Upcoming meetings, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. We'll have one, like I said, more in the spring. I wanted to have this meeting, A, for passports, B, for the tea ceremony and talk about the excursions. I also want to talk about Christmas lists, which I think is next. but just kind of plan that we'll have at least one in the spring, and then we'll have another one, like it says there, about 2 to 3 weeks before departure. So those are upcoming meetings. So luggage, I highly recommend. This is considered a carry-on. I don't know if you can see it or how well you can see it, but I highly recommend doing a carry-on. We're only 9 days, and I believe at least one of those is considered traveling. So I think everybody should be able to get into something that small. If you can't and you need something bigger, totally fine. I get it. I love my wife. She's not here right now, but she would support me saying this. We will need to have one big one to make sure that we are traveling fine. So that's just the reality of it. I get it. I'm fine with it. But I have had
she needs to go
once
like
or twice on tour, I have had students, not the students, the airlines lose luggage. We got it about a day or two later, but sometimes on tour, we're moving and you know, if they don't get it to us before we leave Tokyo, then it can be obviously a problem. So luggage. And then the other thing is passport pouches. This is my passport pouch. It has a string that can go around my neck. The thing I want to point out about it, I definitely highly recommend these. I keep my money in here. If I have cash, I keep my passport in here, but it's also dangerous to keep it all together, right? So you want to keep just a limited amount of cash, your passport, but this should stay on you at all times. The other thing I want to talk about is, like I said, it has a string, but when you're on tour, and I just saw this the other day in San Diego, person's walking and their string is totally hanging out. So I'm a good person, but if a bad person sees that, they know where it's at. I saw another person and they have like more of a belt one instead of a neck one, and theirs was hanging out. And it's like, wow, look, you know, and maybe I travel a lot, so I'm more attuned to those things, but bad people are attuned to those things. I'm happy we're going to Japan. There's way less crime and that sort of stuff going on, but you still want a passport pouch. Just keeps it safe, keeps it really close to your body. It's not just in a pocket, and it's the way to go. Amazon, Walmart, they both have them. They're fairly inexpensive. All right. Make a list, check it twice. So Christmas is coming up. You will probably have a birthday between now and then. So I made a list for you that you might need. You need these things on tour. You may not already have them. So these are some things that you should get. Obviously, I already showed the luggage. I'm going to move it to the side. So you should get some piece of luggage. You should get a passport pouch. Cash. So I thought it would be a really cool idea if maybe a grandma or grandpa was like, hey, I want to give you $50 and you can buy a sweatshirt or you can buy something cool, and that you actually buy a souvenir for it. So that would be a good souvenir or a good Christmas present to give somebody. Here, buy something while you're on tour. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Good walking shoes. We will be doing a ton of walking. We honestly walk anywhere from 5 to almost 10 miles a day when we're on tour. Tons and tons of walking. Get some good walking shoes. Break them in a little bit. Not too much. You don't want them broken down by the time we go on tour, but get some good walking shoes and make sure
broken down,
ready to go. Drum or tea ceremony. You could always obviously ask a relative or somebody to get that for you. Backpack, fanny pack. So I carry a backpack pretty much the whole time we're on tour. This is fairly big, but I also use this as I can have two. So I can have a backpack and a carry-on. This is my backpack that I take on tour. Now realize that I am obviously in charge of everything, and I carry everybody's copy of a passport. So all of those stay with me. All the health release forms and health things, all of that stays with me at all times. So I carry a big backpack. I also have a little passport pouch when I am, and this is not so much a passport pouch, it's kind of a fanny pack. It's a chest pack, very popular in Europe. You see people all over the place wearing these. I actually bought this in Portugal. So I carry this a bit when I don't have to have my backpack with me, or I don't have my backpack at the moment. When I'm touring by myself, this is what I carry. I don't carry my big backpack. It's way too big, way too bulky. But it's good to have both. Drake and I were talking today. and Drake is a student at the high school. He and I were talking today, and he says he takes both. This is for just when you get off the bus and you're going, but he can have his water and different things, and the backpack can stay on the bus. So it's just good to have a couple of different options for carrying your goods around. Battery pack, they have those little rechargeable battery packs. You could just keep it in your backpack and it'll plug in your phone, because we're taking tons of pictures, and you might be sending them up to your friends or family and making sure that it's the proper time to do that. But to be able to recharge your phone when we're on tour is a huge thing as well. Everybody will want a travel pillow. So very inexpensive. You can get them $10, $14. These are the ones that are always just filled. I, again, am a little different. I like it to have it more compact, and this one actually inflates. So I just blow into it and it inflates, and it's a neck pillow as well. I prefer that, but either one works. I just don't want it so big and bulky, especially when we are not, when we're on the bus and things, I'm not sleeping. So this just gets packed away. This is for when I'm flying, and this is my wife's because she doesn't always go into it. Last thing on there, a lightweight rain jacket. I obviously highly suggest Gore-Tex, but those can range for $100 and even up. So again, nice Christmas present, but you can just get a plastic bag type of thing. What am I thinking? Poncho. You can get just a plastic poncho. That will work the same, but I highly recommend. Japan definitely gets lots of rain, and you want to protect yourself. Multiple times on tour, it's been raining, and I have a couple of different umbrellas that I'll take out and hand out to students because they don't have a rain jacket with them, and I highly recommend having this. So again, make a list, check it twice, see if you can get some people to get some birthday or Christmas presents for you. The last thing on there, Japan uses the same power plugs. That's a huge positive note, because in Europe and all kinds of different places, they use all kinds of different power plugs. Japan uses ours, so we'll be nice and good to go with what we usually have. All right, that's it. Thank you. I hope you're getting excited. Now is a great time to ask questions. I see that we have some chats up there. Yes. And again, I can share this with you. So one of the questions was, do you have a list of people? I can. I will get that to you as well. Like to meet with you, and we can do that as well. Maybe that's all part of the chat. So I'm going to end this, and if you have questions, you can ask me in a moment. Figure out how to. And